What conditions did Edmund face inside Chateau d'If? Edmund endured extreme physical and psychological suffering. He lost all sense of time and lived in complete isolation. His food consisted of stale bread and dirty water, and the silence and darkness of the prison pushed him toward despair and thoughts of death. He was also subjected to cruelty and neglect by the guards. What does Edmund's survival in prison show about his inner strength? Edmund's survival reveals his remarkable resilience, strong willpower, and mental endurance. Despite overwhelming suffering, he refused to surrender completely to despair. How does the prison setting increase the sense of injustice in the story? The harsh prison setting deepens the sense of injustice by showing how Edmund is stripped of dignity and basic human rights. He is confined in a dark, isolated cell, denied fair treatment, and punished harshly despite his innocence, emphasizing the cruelty of an unjust system. Do you think Edmund should accept his fate quietly or keep fighting for his freedom? Explain. Edmund should continue fighting for his freedom because accepting his fate would mean accepting injustice. As an innocent man, he deserves a fair trial, justice, and the chance to reclaim his life. How does the description of the Chateau d'If create a sense of fear? The Chateau d'If is portrayed as remote, dark, and terrifying. Sailors view it with fear because it represents hopelessness, a place where prisoners vanish into silence and are rarely seen again, making it a symbol of terror and despair. What symbols of despair can be found in Edmund's prison cell? The darkness of the cell symbolizes hopelessness and loss of identity. Edmund's loss of time awareness and his habit of tracing cracks in the walls reflect his isolation, mental suffering, and desperate attempt to remain sane. Why do you think Edmund shouted his innocence even when no one listened? Edmund shouted his innocence as a form of resistance. It was his way of asserting his identity and humanity in a place designed to silence him and erase his existence. How does the silence of the prison affect Edmund's spirit? The constant silence slowly destroys Edmund's emotional strength, isolating him from the world and pushing him toward mental exhaustion and despair. What is the importance of the scratching sound in giving Edmund hope? The scratching sound represents human connection. It reassures Edmund that he is not alone, restoring his hope and marking the first step toward his emotional and intellectual rebirth. Why do you think the meeting with Abbe Faria was a turning point in Edmund's life? Meeting Abbe Faria transforms Edmund's life by replacing despair with purpose. Faria becomes a mentor who restores Edmund's hope, educates him, and gives his suffering meaning, ultimately reshaping his future. How does Edmund's education in prison prepare him for the future? Through Abbe Faria's guidance, Edmund evolves from an uneducated sailor into a cultured, intelligent man. This education equips him with knowledge, discipline, and confidence that later enable him to survive and succeed beyond prison. What does the treasure symbolize for Edmund beyond money? The treasure symbolizes opportunity, justice, and rebirth. It represents Abbe Faria's trust in Edmund and offers him the means to reclaim control over his destiny and correct past wrongs. How did Abbe Faria's sickness affect the bond between the two prisoners? Abbe Faria's illness deepened their emotional bond, transforming their relationship into that of father and son. Aware of his approaching death, Faria revealed the secret of the treasure to Edmund, entrusting him with both his legacy and his hopes for the future.